Come here now, girl.
Hello and welcome to WhatsMap, your one-stop shop for everything workshop. I'm BonBonB and you're very, very welcome. Well, it's Friday. Today we turn to the BonBon buddies over on Patreon and ask them to vote us in the map. They've gone with this one. Originally requested over on Discord by Z, I think it's a very good shout. It's a creator we've done once before. I don't know if you remember Lumpy Bumpy Shire. Yep, that was their first map. Bit of a take on all of the memes of this channel. Today's map, a lot more sensible. Quite an interesting map to build on as well. I think a few of you are going to like it, and not too much wrong with it, so there is always that as well. Okay, but before we do any of this stuff, we've got some other stuff to do. Yes, it's the daily reminder. That's right, clicking that like button really does support the channel, gets me seen by more people, and helps me grow a little bit more every single day. Thank you for your support. Today's map is a Long Lake. I wonder why it's called that. By dolomitedave. I wonder why he's called that. I do hope his name is Dave. I really do. Okay, so we've got a very strong start square. And I would say that is pretty much what most of us would like to play with. Maybe some straighter lines, possibly. If you want to do a grid city. There's your terrain heights. We've got a couple of lakes. What can I tell you? Lakes are there. We have strong resources. They are, well, very strong. Where there are resources, you can't complain that there aren't resources. And then if you want to do some fishing and you have Sunset Harbour, we have all of the little fishies as well. They're all there. Off to the workshop. What do we need? Well, the answer is absolutely no. There are some stuff. First of all, mass transit is a requirement, and there is a one-click collection there as well, and a link to my channel. Well, that's a definite. Catenary replacer to remove the catenaries. Guess who forgot? No, it wasn't me. I remembered this time. I actually remembered. We got the one-click collection. There is a Long Lake theme mix, including the Clara theme and a few other bits and pieces down there. And we're using the realistic 1.2 LUT. I thought there'd be a different LUT, but there wasn't. Intersection marking tool and a node controller are in operation today. You don't need them. It won't break the map if you don't have them, but it is nice to have. And then, of course, touch this. Recommended for once you start building your map because of the style of the rail that we're using today. Okay, ground level, the map looks pretty fine. I have no problems at all with the overall aesthetics of this. This is pretty reasonable. We've got a good mix of trees. Now, while I like the mix of trees and I like the shapes of the trees, I feel the finesse with the trees has still to come. Trust me, I've only made like a few, well, 2 proper maps of my own and a stolen map and some 90-minute map attack maps, some speed build maps. I don't know if I've quite polished the blending of the trees and making them not just look like realistic shapes of forests, but how they interact with the environment. Don't know if I've quite mastered that myself, so I'm not being hypercritical. I'm just saying that maybe these are going to be the next levels, the next stages, especially when we've got 40 things to subscribe to. You'd expect the forests to be a little bit more polished. There's nothing wrong with what I'm saying, but they're not hyper polished. This is all I'm saying. Again, it's all down to personal taste. Intersection marking tool and no controllers. Done to a high standard today. Done to a very high standard. Whether they're to your taste is a different matter. But as somebody who's played about with them, did the tutorial. Of course, I made the tutorial as well. All of the alignments are very strong, so there's credit for that, and I believe them as well with this credit for that as well. Right, heading back down to the highway network, we have an elevated section over this this tree-lined, tree-filled valley, and again, I'd expect to see trees in there, so that again I think is a pretty strong decision by dolomitedave. So yeah, but I want to say blending between forests. It's very hard to actually describe what I mean by that. There are no clean lines as for we're now transitioning into fields, and there's no. It's the switching of density, I think, is the thing, and the style of trees going to say maybe some smaller slightly lighter, scrubbier style trees along the edges of the forest or something. It's very difficult to say. You just know it when you see it. And sadly, I'm not seeing it today. But hey, I didn't expect to see it today. I did not expect to see it today. What I'm seeing today, though, is, and it'll be very evident when we start doing the flyover on the second half of the show, the shape of the map. We've effectively got two separate build areas, and I guess that would certainly work for some sorts of playability. If you want to do a sort of like a strong coastal style build and then an inland lake style build, or if you just want to build in one area instead of the other and you prefer one, there are different ways of taking on this map. And that is to its credit. We've got pretty reasonable traffic flow. There's a little bit of traffic tailback you'll see in a moment, but I don't think it's anything that would really be anything to concern yourself with and be very easy to fix in game once you get rolling. Now, it isn't a map with one of those fancy Dan network systems that helps all the traffic to avoid the start square either. This is a route to the start square, and we've got traffic on there, and we will see a little bit of tailback in a few moments, but again, it's not a huge concern for me. What is a little bit puzzling for me is the start square. I mean, what we've seen so far is fairly standard fare. Yeah, what you'd expect to see on any map. And then the creator is stamping down their artistic flair with the start square intersection, which starts here. Now, the two highways, they separate up and go off across the water like that. And then we have a bridge that goes into the start square this way. And then we have the roundabout in the middle of the start square over here. Nicely decorated, have to say. And then the road goes back and joins up with the highways. It's a bizarre design. And I'm all for creativity and for stamping your own personal flair onto a map. But that to me just seems a bit strange, a bit weird. The edge of the forest here, yeah, this is what I'm talking about. The little bit of blending, a little bit of fading out along the edge of the forest on the left there. That was very nice and totally believable. And the tree painting on the side of the mountain there is certainly workable as well. Not sure about a right angle bend in the highway. I'd like to have seen that just smoothed out a little bit. Just taken the edge out of that one. And if we've got a crazy start square intersection, I think a slightly less angular, we'll go with angular, slightly less angular bend in the road. Not the worst I've seen in the computer game though. Remember the original Driver? Anybody play the original Driver? My friend was raving about it way back when it came out, and I had to get it, and I got it. And then there was the highway, and the highway went out over the water, and there was a right angle turn in the highway, and I crashed because I didn't know there was going to be a right angle turn. Who would have guessed there'd be a right angle turn? And it wasn't even curved like that one. It was literally an angular turn, and that put me off the game instantly. I was immersed into the realism of, I mean, it was 90s at the time, I feel, but yes, I was immersed into the realism of this 1990s almost first-person perspective style game, and it felt right. It felt real. And then there was that, and the immersion was broken. I was gone. I was just gone. So yeah, and I've never been able to get back into it since any of the Driver games. Right, where were we? Rail. We have very nice rail. Very, very nice rail. Yes, I did switch off the catenaries, and we've got pretty strong bridge there. Pretty strong bridge, gotta say. Again, there is the touch disc mod, which is recommended for when you put down your railway stations, as you plan to do, no doubt, on a map like this. When you put them down and connect them to the rail, you will get a little smudge of blue mantle. I believe that being the case. Just check where the tunnel goes here. And I understand, I've never used it myself, but I understand that the touch of this mod will help you to remove of the said blue mantle. If I'm wrong, then I've misunderstood. But that's what I've got from my little bit of research in preparing for today's show. Interesting bit of information, and I'm glad that somebody was able, in this case, dolomitedave, to explain it to me. The rail here bends and winds a little bit through the start square. Good to have it in the start square. I would have preferred a straighter line through the start square, just so that we have the options of doing a grid city if that's what we want. And then the options of not having a grid city because of the bendy road. There's no reason why, this is the thing, there's no reason why you wouldn't go a little bit gritty on this map. There's plenty of build space. Here we are, heading down the other lake. There are the two lakes. This one isn't strictly a lake because it does fall off the edge of the map. So I'm going to call this the coast, so that we know what we're talking about. This is the coast. The other lake is the lake. And all will be fine. Right, intermission time. We'll come back for the shipping. There's probably shipping on this one, don't you think? There really should be, shouldn't there?
Wouldn't it be great if Cities Skylines had tides within the game? Well, now it does, thanks to TPB's Tides mods. Want to know more? Then you need BonBonB's Tides tutorial. Click the information button below.
And back to Long Lake by Dolomitedave. And the shipping routes. Yes, we have a shipping route. And it's a simple one. Nothing to complain about with this one. It just heads up the coast. Well, because this is a coast, you know. And it'll probably go around the corner there. Somewhere roundabouts there. It's okay. It'll do the job. It's nothing exciting. It doesn't really want to be exciting. And for the fact that it's not an exciting shipping route, I am actually very pleased. There you go. The shipping will dead end up here. And you can see we've got air routes as well. Water flow. Right, okay, down towards the start square. You can see here we have water coming down the Long Lake. And this is the Long Lake. And, yeah, there was plenty of it. And a very, quite an interesting shaped lake to build around the side of as well. For those of you looking for a slightly different shape to your city. And I think it's all about what shape your city evolves into is half of the game. And also the shapes of the forest can help to evolve that as well. And we've got some reasonable shaped florists. Forests too. I've got a reasonably shaped florist a few doors down from me. She's a lovely lady, but she's a weird shape. Like a parallelogram from the waist upwards. Down to... I'm joking, really. She's lovely. Let's go back down to... I'm sorry, love. I mean, if why would she be watching this? But yeah, back to the rivers. She knows my humour. Back to the rivers, and this is the one that goes down to the coast. Very nice river going down here, good shape, and then here, right. So you got this. I like the aesthetics of this area. Kind of like the cliffs on the one side, the buildable area on the other side. This for me has got a real nice aesthetic vibe to it. A little bit underdone in terms of the detailing with the forests along the coast, but that is fine by me. The essential lighthouse, and you know, some rock work there as well. But that I really like. That's my preferred side of the map, which is strange really, because the other side is more like the green and pleasant land I often muse about, and I actually prefer that side. There's your essential lighthouse. So with some, we've got two of them. We have a collection of essential lighthouses. Could we have one in every colour? Is that possible? Don't think the game quite works like that. Then over here. Now this is possibly technically prettier over here. I find it less interesting. And it's weird. I cannot explain why. I don't know whether it's because the forests don't really make me pay attention. I don't think it's the start square networking, but this for me is just weird. I'd rather have something much more conventional. I appreciate the attempt to make the map a little bit more interesting, but yeah, sometimes convention is the thing to go with. This says the guy who had a couple of unconventional intersections on his last major map. Anyway, start square, which means we've got the asset of the day. It's Colonial House, Generalissimo's son Yat-sen's mansion, GuangZhou, China by MarleEvans. MarleEvans is great. They're the one making the, where you have Peter Barr making all the statues. MarleEvans is making these colonial style buildings. Not so sure about the green. I'm guessing that this is available in other colours as well, but green is the one that spawned for me. But yeah, I'm not so sure about it. Maybe it's green in real life. I haven't researched that much. Do I ever? Factoids, because factoids. Lord Byron kept a trained bear in his room while he was at Cambridge. A trained bear. I could use with one of those. First of all, can make me the coffee. There, you could also do the research for me. You could also do the editing. The flyovers would be better as well. The collation of the scores for the viewer's choice, because that's coming up soon. And also writing little letters of thanks to all of the asset creators who all deserve our love. MarleEvans, Colonial House, Generalissimo, blah, 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 blah. In China. My voice is going. I'm going to try and make it to the end of the show without croaking, okay? Okay, we've made it to the point where you get to vote on the map. Is it a 1-star map? Is it a 5-star map? Is it somewhere in between? Your vote really does count. We use it at the end of the month for the Viewer's Choice Top 10. Will this be one of the top 10 maps of the month? Only you can decide. Click the I button now in the top right hand corner of your screen. It'll take you to the voting page where you can vote for free with a Patreon, Facebook, Gmail or an Apple account. Yeah, I'm running short on time. I'm due to start work in 2 minutes, and I've got 2 minutes to the end of the recording, so I can't pause. I've got to just keep talking, even though I have no breath. Deary dear. What do I think of today's map? Aesthetically, actually, I really like this. I can't actually find an excuse to give it 4 stars, though. I really want to, but I just... something about it stops me. So I'm going to go for a very high 3. Don't know what it is. Detailing, I'm going to say exactly the same. I can't see an excuse to give this 4 stars. The standards are pretty reasonable, but it just doesn't quite pop. So, again, I'm going to go for a very high 3. Gameplay potential. Trying to find an excuse to give this 3 stars. I can't. I think it's reasonably playable. Doesn't quite pop, but I do think it actually gets the 4th star. There we go, it's all around that line. We'll give it 4 stars lower. Long Lake by dolomitedave. It's a good map. It's a good map. 1 or 2 questionable decisions, but they're only questionable, they're not wrong decisions. There's nothing broken with it. It will play fine. A little bit of traffic possibly to fix. And some very interesting city shapes in 2 separate locations. What more do you want from a creator? What more do you want? How about a map tomorrow? There's a good idea. If you're still here, you're part of the 20 and out elite. Thanks for watching, for commenting, for liking and subscribing. And use the word of the day into the comments to score yourself some population points just for fun. And I'll be back tomorrow with a quirky map. And tomorrow's is amazing.